So in Arya's diagram analogy, fear is the big one, and then love is inside. Where love is a part of fear, but fear is not a part of love.
Like fearing God is one way of loving Him.
Mm-hmm.
I would say.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
So then love is the outside circle.
Yeah.
So then fear is a part of love.
Yeah.
So you can have love without fear, or you can have fear without love.
Like someone can love him but not fear him.
There's another. I just remembered another example. Let me try to find it.
Yeah.
It's about someone who feared God but wasn't one of His people, I guess, in the Old Testament. Let me see.
Okay. There's a whole nother rabbit hole we could go down, which is like fear is the same word that God uses to be like, no, fear is bad. You know, they use the same words, like you should fear the Lord, but then it also said God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and of a sound mind.
Right.
So it's like defining the difference between the two.
Is the translation different? Like
That's what I'm assuming.
When you translate it?
I would assume so, but they use the same word, so
Translated into English is the same.
it's the same.
But I'm sure
probably-
if you translate into
yeah.
another language, it is different meanings.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
For sure. Probably the reverence.
Most likely. Because even if you look up the straight up English definition of fear, it says an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or a threat.
Right. Versus reverence is awe, respect, and love.
Exactly.
Which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
similar but entirely different mode or entirely different emotion
Yeah.
that is evoked. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And some modern translation, like the New American Standard Bible, have translated the word to revere and standing in awe rather than to fear the Lord. You know?
Right. Right.
You said that you did good, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Proud of you.
I do want to do a comparison chart between what are the aspects of loving God and what are the aspects of fearing God and what are the aspects of both, you know?
Right. Right. That's why I thought it was more like
That yeah, I saw you doing that. That was
where they both interlock with each other.
yeah, they're
you know what I mean?
Kinda.
If anybody wants to see.
Did you find it, Ian?
Yeah, I think so. It's in Genesis 12. I'm not gonna read it because it's long. It's not that long, but there's a famine, so he and his wife go into Egypt, and then he pretends that his wife is his sister.
Yeah.
And then the Pharaoh's like, "Yo, I'm gonna make you my wife."
Yo.
And then and then he gets this. It's like a dream or something.
Oh, that's the second.
He's like, "You tricked me. Why would you do that?" But he was afraid of God. So he gave his wife back to him. He's like, "Get out of here."
Oh, okay.
But he didn't love God.
Right.
And
When he was afraid.
That's a really good example.
Wow, that is a good example.
Yeah.
He just wanted nothing to do with it.
yeah.
Like,
Well,
he
that's
doesn't know
selfish though, because he just didn't want the repercussions of it. You know
So
what I
the
mean?
motive.
The motive
was-
is selfish.
Yeah.
It's not like loving God because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to sin because I love the Lord and I would never want to hurt him. It's no, like God's going to do something if I do this, so I'm going to not. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
very different motives, and that's not the heart that God calls us to have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or was he afraid of God?
Right. It's
Yeah.
like, were
Oh,
you
you're
just
scared.
afraid of being punished and
Oh,
caught,
sorry.
or were you doing this out of reverence and awe and respect and love for me?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a very different motive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is the same thing of being scared of God versus fearing the Lord.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah. I mean, okay. Yeah, never mind.
Sorry. Before I forget, there's another story where I think God's trying to lead his people into the promised land, and then there's this king who wants this guy to curse God's people. If you guys remember that story.
I think so, yeah.
And then he tries to curse them, and God's like, don't curse them,
Mm-hmm.
bless them instead. Just keeps doing that. It's funny. I wouldn't say like I loved God, but he definitely feared him.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because to fear the Lord, it says here in, where was it? Proverbs 8:13. To fear the Lord is to hate evil. I hate pride and arrogance, evil behavior, and perverse speech. So he was just scared of God.
Could have been,
He was
yeah.
just like, yeah, you know what I mean? But to fear the Lord is to hate what God hates as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So now we have a biblical definition.
Mm-hmm.
To fear the Lord is to hate evil.
Mm-hmm.
And then God also said, if you love me, you will obey what I command.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I also wanted to add that the story with Abram, it's like that Pharaoh was scared of God, but it also, when you look at Abram's character, like Abram, he didn't have a fear of God at all. He had a fear of man.
Right.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
we could do a comparison check between those two as well.
This is also before he forms the covenant with Abraham.
Yeah.
Okay, Proverbs 22:4. Humility is the fear of the Lord. Its wages are riches and honor and life. Proverbs 19:23. The fear of the Lord leads to life. Then one rests content, untouched by trouble. Proverbs 1:7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Do not let your heart envy sinners, but always be zealous for the fear of the Lord. So yeah, I think fearing the Lord is definitely having a reverence for Christ, but it also talks about just with the same of like just staying away from sin, it's to protect us. You know what I mean? And it's to give us a better life here, but also helps us to get to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not just like God's a tyrant and he wants us to just like fear and bow. You know,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
it's not a one-dimensional thing.
Right. It's
yeah.
no, fearing me is knowing that what I'm I'm the most holy, I'm the most high.
Mm-hmm.
What I say is true and is the law.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you do these things, this will happen to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not just like, oh, he's gonna kill me on the spot. No,
Mhm,
it's that
yeah.
like it's like you respect your parent who's trying to teach you don't touch the stove. You know what I mean? Because you know that they'll give you a timeout if you do. You know what I mean? It's like that whole thing of
Yeah.
it's not you're scared of because I'm not scared of my parents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not terrified, trembling every time they walk past me.
Mhm.
It's that, oh, I know if I go against what they told me to do, I'm going to get a punishment for it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And I think that's how a lot of us start out with fearing the Lord. I think that's how a lot of it does start out with the whole thing of like, oh, I'm afraid to be punished. But then I think as you learn and then grow a fondness and love for God, then you start to realize, oh, this is to protect me.
Yeah.
They weren't trying to be a tyrant. This is to protect me so that I'm safe.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, oh, God cares. Oh, God loves me. Wow. How much does God love me? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like a whole, like, you know, over time it develops. It's not like you just wake up and you're like, baptism. And then it's like, wow, I fear the Lord and I love
Yeah,
him. Everything
yeah.
is just,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? No, it's like, it's going to take like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, your whole spiritual childhood
Yeah,
to really mature and realize all those things.
for
And
sure.
form that relationship.
So you can have one without the other?
I think in the end, no. But I think it
Mm.
has to start somewhere. I
Yeah.
don't think you start having both.
Mm.
But I do think one does lead to the other.
Yeah.
Like if you truly have a full sense of who God is, you're going to have both.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For
But
sure.
I don't think you start having both. Fear and love. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But I think it grows over time.
Yeah.